The A380 freighter that could actually work. That's what this video is about today. Like, subscribe and share. Hi, my name is Lotfi Mrad and it's been a while since I recorded a video on aviation because, just reporting on more airlines going bankrupt, more airlines grounding, or some airlines starting to have one extra flight per day is not really interesting. It's boring, it's depressing, and I was not in the mood to record depressing videos because I don't want to depress you. But I kept seeing videos on retirement, early retirement of the A380, and there has been a lot of talk about that there's no second-hand market, that a freighter would not work. But then somehow today it just came to me. A freighter could actually work if it was used for certain purposes, and if they would think out of the box for once. So normally what you have is an airplane, which is a tube, and then today I'm going to specifically talk about P2F, so passenger to freighter conversion, which has been happening a lot lately due to the COVID drama story. And what they did was just take passenger aircraft and convert them temporarily to freighters, which means they would not change much on the interior, just take out the chairs and use the rails in which they hook on the chairs to hook on pallets. And then generally people have to walk in by hand, box by box, which is quite intense when it comes to labor. On the other hand, because so many people lost their jobs, they find enough people to actually do the work, and there's so much demand for freight because there are so little aircraft flying around that they can afford this. They can afford the extra labor. But how about setting up a system that would really work? One of the reasons that the A380 freighter was never built is because the A380 was delayed, and then they were not sure about if it would work, especially with the upper deck. For the upper deck you would need new machinery to get the pallets or the containers that high, because all machinery has been built for 737 height till 747 main deck and everything in between. And the A380 requires an extra 2 to almost 3 meters, and that's a problem. So back in the days there were mainly 3 carriers who thought about buying it. What I remember was UPS and FedEx, which generally transport small packages. And the system UPS uses is containers that they just slide into the aircraft, that have the shape of the aircraft, either fully or like half, so straight on one hand and then the curve, and then so they can stuff them in. So these can be fully loaded in the cargo area, where there's enough space for people to just go and stuff all the boxes inside, store them perfectly, and then when the aircraft lands, it's just containers that are driven there and stuffed in, and you have a very short turnaround time. Where today's passenger to freighter conversion means that people need to stand in line and hand over boxes, and then up the stairs, and then inside the aircraft, and then all the way to the end of the aircraft, walking forth and back, which takes a lot of time, which is all but efficient. And so I thought about, why not combine the market requirements of today with the market requirements which have already been there for decades. Look at the A380 and then find a way to bring them together. So the thing is, you need to get things to the upper deck. The rest is easy, is doable. So I will show you pictures. So you see the top left picture is the standard design of an A380 freighter with a big cargo door for the upper deck in the front and for the center deck, the main deck, in the back. And then you have for the lower back the standard two cargo doors which are already on every A380 on the left side. So I thought, let's create design A and design B, option A, option B. So option A is put a cargo door as close as you can to the wing. So basically already a little bit above the start of the wing box. That has an inconvenience. Each of both designs has an inconvenience and an advantage. So the inconvenience here is, if there's a oops, you damage the wing, which is like bloody expensive. In option B, the cargo door is more forward. So if something drops, it can drop, there is space. So you may say, okay, option B. The inconvenience of option B is that the upper deck starts already to decline in height, which means that you cannot use fully that part. And now I will explain why this is a problem. So as you can see, no cargo door on the upper deck. So the idea is to be able to use the existing infrastructure, so the existing machinery that will lift up whatever cargo you want to put inside. You install an elevator, a cargo elevator, inside the A380, in the front normally. It could also be installed in the back, depending, and here I do not have the necessary information, which would take stuff to the upper deck. So you slide in, and then oppa, it's on the upper deck. Depending on the weight of such a structure, it can be installed, it has to be installed in the front if it's really heavy. And if it's relatively not so heavy, it could be installed in the back, which would be optimum, because in the back the upper deck has its full height. And you have the clearance also from the wing and from the horizontal stabilizer. So if something drops, you won't damage the wing, you won't damage anything else, because there's enough clearance if you keep the door where it was originally designed, which I believe is also the perfect spot, because that is the design that I thought of already when they designed the whole framework. So also all the where the different pieces of the A380 are connected, you won't have a cargo door in the middle, so you will not harm structural integrity. So this is the idea. Simply look at what you have and work on that. And you may say, yeah, but then they need to, yes, but the floor anyway needs to be adapted. So you already have a hole for the stairs. You can make that hole bigger, and if you're going to work on the floor to reinforce it, you can also make a framework. If you build the elevator, the cage of the elevator can also be the reinforcement you need to compensate for the bigger hole that you're going to have to lift up the pallets or the containers. This would mean that if this is done, you could take easily 60 A380s now, which are all out of order, which are all have been retired, start converting. you can take an old one now, which is really cheap, and you can start testing on it. You can completely screw it up. It will not be that expensive. But if it works, you have a conversion that actually the airlines that originally wanted to buy the A380 freighter would love to have. If you look at the price of the A380 second hand and then the conversion price, you combine that, it may still be cheaper than buying a 747-8 freighter. And you'll have much more capacity, like really much more capacity. Okay, this will not work for those companies who want to ship big things, huge things. But you could still have cars transported on the main deck, and on the upper deck simply a little bit smaller things. Things that would also fit in a 757 or a 767. Because it's still that big. It just depends on how big will be the elevator. And you would say, yeah, the elevator will take space. Well, the elevator will take space, but still you can use the space of the elevator, at least on the main deck, for cargo. Like the last thing you stuff in stays on the elevator on the main deck. So it's not like you're going to have a whole tube that's empty. Only on the upper deck you will lose that space. So how about that? What are your ideas on this? Do you think that a UPS, a FedEx, or even a DHL would be interested in having such an aircraft flying from, for example, UPS from Cologne to the hub in one of the hubs in the US or two of the hubs in the US? Instead of having multiple aircraft flying, they can just have one big aircraft that just does it. As we are shipping more and more, even Amazon could be interested in this, because Amazon especially, they have all these small packages. So for them it would be ideal. Stuff all the packages in standard sized containers that you put up. Yeah, okay, you may have two sizes, one for the upper deck, one for the main deck, and then you will have pallets for the lower deck. Or maybe even for that, containers. But anyway, you already have those different sizes. But then you stuff them full, the airplane comes, take out what's in there, stuff in the new stuff, and whoppa, you fly. And as we're shipping more and more smaller packages around the globe, this aircraft is ideal for this. Just check how many aircraft are flying around now. Every single day, from continent to continent, from hub to hub, because the packaging services, the UPSs, the DHL, the FedExes, they're still flying hub to hub. They have to. So for them it's ideal. I'm sure that the Chinese would love to convert the 747, the A380s, and to buy more A380s second hand and have them converted. Because China is producing so much stuff and they need shipping by air. So yeah, they may fly empty back, but that's often the case. Full from China to Europe, from China to the US, and then fly back empty. Still, it would be very efficient. And it's an aircraft with a great range. Okay, it has 4 engines, but looking at the capacity, even Cargolux may say like, we have an old 747 fleet, but such a big A380, could be really interesting. Maybe ABC Cargo would also say like, yeah, why not? Just depends on what are you shipping. If you're shipping small stuff, I would say UPS, DHL, FedEx, Amazon. Those 4, would be delighted with such an aircraft. So who's going to do it? I suggest Airbus does it, because Airbus knows the best about the structural integrity of the aircraft. They had already the blueprints for the potential freighter. They thought about it. They designed certain things, so they know already. The only thing is the elevator. And then deciding front or back. And then how much, which position, option A or option B, so that it works with the height and everything. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they can have it they can have option B, because the difference is not that much, and as the aircraft doesn't need to be pressurized, maybe they can change some things on the inside, or they can take out isolation, so that, yeah, it will be cold, but then the cabin compartment will be sealed. Problem solved. Just think out of the box. Look at what is there, what is available now, what is needed. So if you have ideas, if you have comments, please do share. And if you would like me to record more videos from this kind, where I think out of the box or find a solution for an existing problem, please drop in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I wish you wonderful holidays, even in these strange times, and a beautiful new year. If you disliked the video, you do this. If you liked it, thumbs up, share and subscribe. Also, check out my Patreon page. There you can support me and get access to exclusive content. Get more. Check it out in the link below.